And we have another bruh article from the spin doctors in the shill media, this time from the Independent UK or UK Independent, whatever the hell they want to call themselves, entitled, "Everyone wants to tell you why Harley Quinn Birds of Prey is a flop, but most of them are wrong. What internalized misogyny might have taught us about consuming female-led films." Yes, you read that right. Internalized misogyny. They actually went there with the subtitle. Hello, this is Mara Jade, and I'm here with another video, and I was sent this article by one of my good friends, the Oz on Twitter, whom I still consider a friend despite the stupidity in this article that he sent me, and I told him I would do a video on it, and here I am, going to give my 2 cents on another weak attempt to defend a movie that is flopping at the box office, and I will show the box office numbers in a little bit, but oh my god, is there such spin to this article. Let's get into it right now, shall we? Alright. There is an odious rumor. I love odious rumor. I love how they use the source whenever they write their articles. The kind that stops me in my tracks and prompts me to turn my head, one eyebrow raised in suspicion, ready to ask, wait, what? Trying to be clever there, aren't we? The rumor, you see, is that the movie Birds of Prey starring Margot Robbie as a freshly freed from the Joker Harley Quinn isn't doing very well at the box office, with the underlying implication that the film is flopping because it's not actually very good, but the reality, of course, is more complex than that. I don't know, maybe the fact that the movie itself flagrantly butchers the backstories of most of the characters in the film, or just uses them as virtue signal tokens throughout the entire film, or maybe it's the fact that the story itself is just boring as all hell. They actually took a Harley Quinn-centric story and made it boring. That's one success I can give Warner Brothers for this film. But anyway, let's get into this article further. Birds of Prey is a good movie. No, that is your opinion. You are using it as a statement of fact when in reality, opinions are like assholes. Everyone has one and you are no different. It's immensely fun, absurd at times, but in a way that always feels in line with its tone and well written. Again, your opinion, and it's subjective, like assholes. It's also very aesthetically pleasing. This is my way of saying that the outfits are absolutely out of this world. More power to you. I thought they were ugly. And home to some of the best body fight scenes I've seen in a while. Body fights? How do you have a fight without a body involved in some way? I mean, you think we're talking about fist fights, like actual, body contact. That's what you should say if you actually knew what you were talking about. Oh, God. The soundtrack is a treat. Crucially, Birds of Prey gives the character of Harley Quinn, who seemed inextricably tied to Jared Leto's Joker in 2016 Suicide Squad, a much-needed liberation story. If you knew anything from the comic book storylines, she is liberated from the Joker. From her friend, Poison Ivy, helping her. And guess what? Instead of queerbaiting people with the possibility of a homosexual relationship between Black Mask and Victor Zsasz, there was an actual relationship, a romantic one, that formed between Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn, so you didn't have to queerbait anybody. You could have ticked off the virtue signaling token points with that plotline without actually doing so. To appease a certain crowd, is my point. But anyway, again, your opinion. Stop stating it as a fact. The way box office figures work is a little more complex than said film makes what sounds like a meager amount of money equals said film sucks. That's the only thing in this article I do agree with, because the amount of money a film makes at the box office doesn't necessarily mean the film itself is bad. Case in point, Blade Runner 2049 is generally consensus as a good film. I personally had a bad experience watching that film because the surround sound in the theater drowned out the dialogue. But most people, from what I've talked with, would consider it a good film, but it did not do well at the box office. One thing I agree with in this article. It makes sense to compare the amount a film brings in to the amount of money that was spent making it. As it turns out, Birds of Prey has made $85 million worldwide in its first 5 days of release, compared with an estimated budget of $84.5 million. Well, actually, the budget I read said it was $97.1 million, and two, you do not understand how it works with studios and theaters. Generally, you take what it makes worldwide and you cut it in half, because half goes to the theaters and half goes back to the studios. So in reality, the $85 million it made worldwide, which is still a travesty considering its budget, would be $42.5 million it actually made for the studio. So again, you do not understand how this works, sweethearts. This somewhat mitigates the apocalyptic reports of a box office flop, but sure, even I will admit it, Birds of Prey still hasn't entered blockbuster territory. It has been out for a little over a week. Okay, and I will show the figures in a little bit. It is flopping. It is bombing. It will be lucky if it claws its way to breaking even at this point. But anyway, let's get back into it. Some have blamed its R rating for its perceived paltry performance, with the reasoning that it cut off valuable potential viewers, namely young teens and families. Yes, it did, because the only reason it gave itself the R rating, or went with the R rating, is just so they could drop the F-bombs every time. That's it. The fights, with the exception of what happens to Black Mask, and I'm not going to get into any spoilers, the fight scenes alone were PG-13 level. There was nothing even remotely R rating about the violence in the film, other than what happens to Black Mask, and that's it. It's only because so they could drop the F-bomb. That's it. If they took out the many times they used the F-bomb, plus maybe not show what happens to Black Mask, they could have easily gotten away with the PG-13 rating. But again, you would know that if you understood how it works. I personally think that the timing of its release played a part. Birds of Prey came out in early February, known as the Kiss of Death as far as movie season is concerned. January is actually the Kiss of Death as far as the movie season is concerned, number one. And two, Deadpool came out around the same time. But two things it had going for it was the incredible marketing campaign behind it, and the fact that it did not shit on anyone who was complaining about the trailers. Which is, again, not learning. Why is it so hard? And Deadpool did well. It did beyond what people were expecting it to. And because it doesn't matter the time of month the movie comes out, if the anticipation is there, people will go see the film. And two, Birds of Prey came out, or three I should say, sorry I can't count, Birds of Prey came out a week before Valentine's Day. I'm sorry. I thought the whole point of its release was to tie into that holiday weekend that was coming a week after its release. What happened? It premiered during the weekend of the Oscars, when pretty much every season the moviegoers' eyes were turned away. It doesn't fucking matter. It really doesn't. If the anticipation for the film is there, people will go see it. It doesn't matter what's going on with the Oscars, which, by the way, is considered a joke among most people. Most people didn't watch it. It was like the worst ratings, viewers in its history this year, I believe. I mean, okay, you can't use that as an excuse. Oh my god. The amount of spin in this article. Warner Brothers, the studio behind Birds of Prey, seems to think that the film's title is to blame. They've changed it from Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn, I hate that fucking subtitle with a passion, fun, if somewhat lengthy, to Harley Quinn Birds of Prey. Even then, the Birds of Prey are barely in the film, as the Birds of Prey. The Birds of Prey really don't come into play until the very end. So really it should be a Harley Quinn film, with the Birds of Prey just dancing around in the background. The new title makes it a bit more obvious that the film is, in fact, about Harley Quinn, who became an immensely popular character after the aforementioned Suicide Squad. She was already popular to begin with. If you're talking about normies, then yes, she became immensely popular, and by normies, I don't mean to denigrate anybody, because we were all normies at some point in our lives when we were with pop culture and comic books and everything like that. But the normie crowd I am referring to are the new generation of Hot Topic goers who consider this Joker and Harley Quinn to be the ultimate relationship goals. Those are the people that she became immensely popular with. And that is fucking sad, because she has been popular since her incarnation in the Batman the Animated Series from the early 90s. So almost, like, nearly 30 years. Her character has been around and popular. So she didn't just become popular. She has always been popular, but she's become popular with the crowd that does not care to even go into the backstory of her character. That's the whole point. Just think of how many people rocked shiny miniskirts and bi-colored pigtails for Halloween that year. That's the crowd she became popular with. The crowd that only goes to the films, doesn't bother to read the comic books, doesn't bother to read anything about the backstories of the characters just because they look cool and they appeal to whatever fucking thing they want. That's the crowd that her character from Suicide Squad appealed to. But none of this accounts for what might be the most influential factors of all, which is that narratives about women aren't widely perceived as being universal. In the world of fiction, to be a man is to be a person, to be a woman is to be a woman. Fucking no. A person is a person no matter the gender. And a character is loved no matter the gender. So to say otherwise, you're just trying to spin it as possible, or it's like just crazily as possible, to defend a film that could have done well, that should have done well, but shot itself in the foot because they decided to alienate most of the audience who would go to see it. Which, by the way, was mostly men who saw the film. 53%, so men still was a higher percentage than women who went to go see Birds of Prey. Meaning your experiences are understood and analyzed only within the confines of your gender, usually by other women. Harley Quinn's tale in Birds of Prey has very much been sold in promotional materials as a female empowerment narrative, yes. That was a whole fucking marketing campaign behind that damn movie. The Joker and I broke up. I wanted a fresh start, but it turns out I wasn't the only dame in Gotham looking for emancipation. Quinn narrates as images of her new female battle partners flash on the screen. They only got together as a convenience in the plot. That's it. They had no reason other than, hey, Black Mask is going to kill us all, to get together. There were no bestie moments between all those women at once, or anything like that. There was no reason for them to even like each other after they survived Black Mask trying to kill them. Nothing. Did you watch the same fucking film I did? Now, don't get me wrong, as far as I'm concerned, that sounds like an exciting story. But while we are taught from childhood to care about stories about male friendship, from, say, Lord of the Flies to Ocean's 11... Okay. Lord of the Flies, did you even fucking read that book? I don't know, are you missing the whole social commentary about how if we remove rules, laws, and order from society, are so capable of living as civilized people, or would we regress to our more primitive nature? Did you miss that whole fucking point in the book? You just went off the fact that all the characters were young males. That's it. That's all you went off of. It does not at all, centered on male friendship. It centers on what happens when you remove them from society, from the rules and order set forth by society. Do they retain, as I said, their civil nature, or do they regress to primal urges? The same isn't true of their female counterparts. Female friendships tend to be depicted, when they are depicted at all, as competitive and all sorts of complicated, while male friendships get to be uplifting tales of camaraderie. Thelma and Louise. Let's see, Fried Green Tomatoes. First Wives Club. Let's see, what else? Bridget Jones's Diary. Yes, there was a guy in the group of friends, but 3/4 of them were female. So basically, again, I just named 4 off the top of my head, and I'm sure there are more examples of how your argument is fucking bullshit. Really, pick a fucking romantic comedy. Most of the time, the females are besties. Oh my god. This impacts not only how films such as Birds of Prey are told, but also how they are marketed or not. I live in New York City, where people love movies, but in the lead up to Birds of Prey's release, I saw nary a poster advertising it. Okay, one, that's the marketing campaign. So that's not to blame anybody for not seeing the film. There were plenty of trailers and articles for people to go, hey, I want to see that movie. And the fact that it was probably no, as you say, poster advertising in nary a one is maybe because the theaters are like, oh boy, no one's buying tickets to this film. Why should we bother advertising for it? Perhaps it didn't help Birds of Prey's case that Harley Quinn as a character has such, shall we say, girly, I use this word with the biggest quotation marks you could possibly think of, aesthetic. She loves bright colors, glitter, and makeup. It doesn't fucking matter. Jesus fucking Christ. Again, in an ideal world, this wouldn't be considered othering? Do you mean bothering? Do you even fucking know how to edit your own articles? But decades of internalized misogyny mean that Quinn's loud femininity might put off some potential viewers. No, her looking like a crackhead who crawled out from the gutter with most of her outfits, so before you social justice warriors get on my back, I'm talking about her outfits. No, that's what put most people off. It wasn't her femininity. Case in point, Ripley from Aliens, or at least when she went from Alien to Aliens, yes, she was a badass bitch, but what made her character so good was the fact that she was not at the exclusion of her feminine qualities. When she found Newt, the little girl who survived the slaughter of her colony, what made Ripley so great was the fact that her mother instincts came out. The feminine qualities that are within most women is what made her character so great in that film. It wasn't that it wasn't that they were excluded from anything in her character development. So, to say that is just, I can't even. This isn't to fault the movie. Birds of Prey is a female ensemble film in all its glory with clear battle of the sexist undertones. Harley Quinn is only one part of a squad that also includes Huntress, Black Canary, Renee Montoya, and Cassandra Cain. That was not fucking Cassandra Cain in that movie. That was Short Round's sister. That's for the film. Things are different in the comic books the movie's based on. Obviously, because that's not fucking Cassandra Cain. That wasn't fucking Black Canary. That wasn't fucking Renee Montoya. And they only just barely got Huntress right. It's a movie about women, which many still take as meaning it's also for women. Oh my god. Growing up, we're taught to identify with male characters regardless of our gender because their experiences as perceived and presented as universal. Yes, you do not look up to a character because of his or her gender. You say to me as a woman that I can only look up to female characters, or I should only look up to female characters, you're relegating me to nothing more than what's between my legs, and that's fucking insulting to me. You admire a character or even a person in real life because of the qualities he or she possesses. Innate qualities such as hopes, dreams, goals, motivations, fears, strengths, etc. That's what you admire about the person, not the superficial qualities such as gender, skin color, or sexual orientation. When I was 17 and taking my end-of-school exams, the French equivalent of the SATs, the examiner asked me whether I identified more with Emma Bovary, the protagonist of Gustave Flaubert's Madame Bovary, the story of a woman tragically bored with her banal life, or that of Flaubert's L'Éducation Sentimentale. I do not speak. I never took French, so I'm sorry if I'm butchering the pronunciation. The tale of Frederick Moreau, a tortured romantic young man coming of age during the 1848 French Revolution. Without missing a beat, I chose the latter. Of course, I identified more with a young man looking for love and a place in the world at a time of great unrest. I had spent my formative years as a reader empathizing with male characters. Does any teenager not go through a Holden Caulfield from Catcher of the Rye phase? Because those were the ones presented to me in assigned readings. Years later, I am left wondering how many male students would have spontaneously chosen Emma Bovary as their alter ego. I'm tempted to say very few, not because her story felt unrelatable. Emma is a bored person yearning for a passion and intensity, and isn't that basically the tale of every teenager growing up in a small town, but because it simply wouldn't have occurred to them to identify with a female character. Oh my fucking god. You don't identify with the character because of his or her sex. The fact that you even said it's basically the tale of every teenager growing up in a small town would resonate for both sexes. What? Stories about women, be they Harley Quinn or Emma Bovary, are no less universal than stories about men. Our pain is your pain, our love is your love, our anger is your anger. Come on in. That is the fucking article, and holy fucking shit. Could the spin be any more obvious? And, okay, and I said numbers. She's saying that the movie, I'm assuming it's a she, is saying the movie is not a flop. Look at this. Birds of Prey figures. Total. Worldwide, it's 145,273,302. For, let's see, since it officially premiered on February 7th, which means it's now February 16th. So 9 days. 9 days to reach that total. It has to get 100 million more to break even. It made $33,010,017 opening weekend, with 4,236 theaters. Alright? Look at Sonic the Hedgehog. It has a $57 million opening, as of now. I think the estimate is 68 million. Opening weekend, so in 3 days, it doubled what Birds of Prey made in its opening weekend. With nearly 100 less theaters. And it's already worldwide, almost reaching Birds of Prey total in 3 days, what it took Birds of Prey to reach in more time than that. The Birds of Prey is flopping. No way you can spin that. It is flopping, and it will be lucky to break even. I think it will crawl its way there, but we'll see. We'll see, but given how much money it's making each day since its release, and the fact that Sonic came out and people are saying that they're taking their kids, they're going to see it multiple times, and so forth, I have a feeling Sonic will overtake Birds of Prey easily. But anyway, this is Mara Jade. If you like this video, leave a thumbs up. Let me know down in the comments if you saw Birds of Prey. What did you think of it? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Did you see the Sonic film? Did you like it? Did you not like it? I've seen both films. I saw Sonic the Hedgehog movie. I was bored out of my mind with Birds of Prey. If you enjoy my content, subscribe to my channel. Share it on social media if you will. Again, I'll be coming out with more videos this week. I thought I reached 1,000 subscribers, but a glitch in YouTube must have happened. Basically dropped me back down to just below 1,000 subscribers. Sorry, I can't talk, but oh well. I will just work on getting my content out for the week, see if I can get it back up before this coming weekend. I'll catch you all on the dark side. This is Mara Jade. Take care.